Renaissance or the awakening. What is this renaissance or awakening? Before I say anything about it, let me remind you people of the awakening that changed the future of the world. The one that happened in 16th and 17th century Europe, which changed the political scenario and future of the European countries and subsequently the rest of the world. Now, the thing about Renaissance is you cannot give another man his Renaissance. The Renaissance has to come on its own. Renaissance led to revolts because people realized what was happening in the world at that time or in their countries at that time that was wrong and something needed to be changed. The Renaissance was the awakening that something is wrong and needs to be fixed. And when when everybody agreed on the same thing, there was the change of power and change of societal structure. And that's what Renaissance is all about. Awakening that leads to change in social structure so that humans have better future. Now, the reason I bring this subject is a lot has been said about human rights and it's a scenario in Asian countries, particularly in Middle East. Now, I personally consider that much of it is propaganda, because there are worse things that are happening in some African countries which have been witnessing civil war for years, for decades now. Worse things have happened in Sri Lanka with the decades-long civil war between LTTE and the Sri Lankan government, and there's worse happening in Zimbabwe and Burma. But all the time, the emphasis is on what's happening in Middle East. The only reason is it's a propaganda generated to wage a war, which is basically nothing but extension of imperialistic interests in modern world by politically correct means. Now, why I say that? Now, if things are that bad as we have been told that they are, say for example in Iran, or even if when it was Iraq, if things are that bad, then the local population, they will not be happy with the government. They will themselves rise up in revolt and change the government. Now people say that people are weak, public is weak, simply because it's the government which has all the power. But what power does the government have? The only power the government has is the state machinery, which it can use against the public. And that state machinery is just two things: army and police. But the thing is, who makes that army and police? It's ordinary men and women like you and me who makes that army and police. And if the government is able to use that army and police to subdue public opinion, that means that public opinion is not strong enough against that government. And the reason that public opinion is not strong enough is there are sections in that society which don't believe everything is wrong. Now, there are always three sections in a society. There's one section which is not happy with what's happening, the way things are. There's another section which is happy with the way things are, and then there's the third section which is neutral, which says, okay, we are living happily now, even if things change, we'll still be happy. That's the third section. Renaissance happens when all the three sections, they feel that something is wrong and needs to be fixed. And when all sections of the society feel that something is wrong and needs to be fixed, that's when even the people who are in army and police, they turn in the public side. And that's when Renaissance leads to revolts that change the structure of the government and society. The reason is the people who serve in army and police forces, even they have families. They have fathers, mothers, daughters, sons, brothers, sisters, wives, friends who are ordinary people and not in police and army. Every policeman is not married to a policeman and he doesn't have a policeman as a son or a daughter. The thing is, even they are a part of the society. And when for a renaissance to lead to a change in societal structure, everybody has to feel that there's something wrong. And when everybody feels there's something wrong, that's when societal structure changes. That's when revolts happen. That's when revolutions happen. Now, say if something is wrong with Iran, that's what we have been made to believe by all the propaganda that we have been listening to and watching in the media. If that was to be wrong, there would have been a revolt by now in Iran. But if it's not happening, that means either not everything is wrong, or there is a big chunk of population which believes that the situation in Iran is alright and they're happy with it. Now, in such a case, if the Western powers were to interfere and meddle in their affairs or launch an assault on them, just in the name that we are going to provide renaissance to the people of Iran, or release to the people of Iran from a regime which is violating their human rights, that will only lead to further repercussions. Why? Because the people who are happy with what the things are, they won't be happy with such an assault. And then the neutral population will be forced to take a side in such a scenario. There will be people who will say, okay, change is good and we are happy with it. And there will be people who would have lost their kith and kin needlessly in any such misadventure, and they will want revenge. Now, the people who are happy with the things the way they are and the people who would want revenge, how will they react? They will want revenge. But how will they get revenge? If they can't fight fair and square, they will only take up terrorism, and things will only deteriorate. So what I'm trying to say is, just because we feel someone else needs a renaissance and a change, doesn't mean that we have the authority or the right to give them their renaissance or the change. We have to let them decide for themselves when they need a change. Their renaissance has to come on their own. You cannot provide any man his renaissance. That's all for this video, friends. I hope you understand what I'm saying, but everybody has a right to have their own opinion. Thank you.